All right. Hello, everybody. Oh, I forgot that I have to do that. And that, yes. It's the entire, like, I have to remember to have things, not quite full screened over top of it. And that's the one time I forgot that. At some point, I'll figure out a better way to capture stuff from Discord. It's not now. We've talked about it, and it's a problem for 3 seconds, so that's why I haven't taken care of it. As long as I remember. It's not a problem. Everybody's having a good Saturday here. I think it's been a fine one overall for myself. And I'm, of course, joined by my two illustrious co-hosts who are able to join me today. Once again, so thumbs up to both of them. Thank you for joining me, as I think we can get diving into how our week has been. So folks, how has your week been? How anything interesting happen? Anything stand out? You know,
Yeah. I had my head almost taken off by a goose this morning.
Nice.
Who's some jerks?
They'll get you.
To be fair, it wasn't trying to. Basically, there were like 2 trees, and it was coming in fast between those trees. While I was coming out from behind the tree, I just think it didn't see me. It started, like, I saw it basically at the same time. It started to flutter to try and slow down, but I literally had to jump out of the way. Like, it was that close. Like, I felt the wind from its wings pass by my head.
You got dive bombed by a goose.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That was fun, though. It was funny. There were like 3 people who saw it too, which is great.
Not gonna lie, goose are such jerk animals. They really are.
Funny enough, it's really interesting because like when I used to live with my parents, there's a park nearby, and the goose there were like mean as hell. The goose at this park are like totally fine. Like they're so chill. And they're the same breed of goose.
The weirdness.
The
of
one
the
difference
animal.
is that the other park is smaller, so there's less space, and they also have swans, which I think are bad in.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good, an interesting adventure, I should say. I was gonna say good adventure, but I'm like, no, that's saying not good, but interesting adventure.
Fair.
Yeah.
Anything else stand out that anybody had this week?
I, for the first time, finally played Trench Crusade. I can say it's very fun. It's nice to play a smaller scale skirmish game that doesn't require the spending of thousands of dollars.
I can see that being an advantage.
Especially because it's miniatures agnostic, so you can just kind of bring whatever and say it's this.
That's really nice sounding, man. Jeez.
Imagine a miniatures game where they let you bring your own miniatures. That'd be cool.
I know, it's crazy.
Imagine a miniatures game they don't like do all. Okay, look, we could spend 10 minutes busting on Games Workshop. I'm not going to lie, it's very easy.
Yeah, the company that does Trench Kit also sells the STL files, so you can 3D print to your heart's content.
That's very nice.
I need
Yeah,
a 3D printer.
I think I'm trying to think of
I think when my partner and I move in together, we're gonna get one.
I just haven't had enough of a need for one yet. Or thought of there's something that I would need it for, even if it's like a monster.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I know for a fact that if I ever got into like something like Warhammer, I'd just 3D print everything. I would never do any official combat.
Yeah, as long as you're not doing tournaments, just find 3D printed stuff. Doesn't really matter.
Mm. Yeah.
Most of the rules end up online for free anyways, so.
I also know that if I ever got like a live group of friends, basically, I'd 3D print probably miniatures and stuff. But
so you're waiting for your CNC machine, eh, Blaze? That seems neat.
Yeah, enjoy your $10,000 machine.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I can see that from Blaze. Blaze is a person that does a lot of crafts and stuff too, and a lot of like machine work.
Yeah.
And also is employed as machine working kind of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
has training in that.
I'm just saying, like having your own, like I know a lot of people who will use their work CNC machines, but man, having your own would be so expensive.
I'll always remember the interesting things that Blaze always had too. I'll always respect the handmade dice box that is the most impressive dice box you've ever seen. Of course, it is filled with a metric buttload of D6s that we used so many different ways, those D6s in so many different adventures, from building maps out of them to representing enemies on a board. Sometimes just be like, let's put some dice down. Because you don't have minis for stuff. Minis are always expensive.
Yeah, I that just reminded me of like a meme I saw one time, which is all like every DIY project on the internet is all like, okay, now that we've done all these steps you can do by hand, time to take it over our $10,000 CNC machine, which you obviously have as well.
Exactly. Look, you know, I think the two favorite things that I've ever seen someone use for a game were when a friend of ours she was really good at crocheted a squid. We were fighting a kraken. She just, you know, our DM asked to bring the crocheted squid as the kraken we were fighting. And the other thing is when we got into a fight and my DM had like a little miniature for like the like it was like an evil like a manifestation of death, and he's like, I need this to ride a Dracolich. I don't have a Dracolich, and just went to a kitchen and brought forth a jug of vinegar, put it down, put the little character on top of it.
Whatever works.
it was the vinegar monster, which technically is supposed to be like a super powerful Dracolich, but look, you know,
the Dracolich's skin was dissolved in the vinegar.
Exactly.
So it was the skin of the Dracolich.
Whatever works.
I mean, that's the thing that's really great sometimes. Is you just work with whatever you work with. I mean, the amount of like you have to find like random images and just hope they're not like terrible AI images sometimes nowadays. I guess it was a lot better back in the day where you could look for random images and they just worked. I mean,
yeah. To be fair, in person, you can buy really cheaply a whole bunch of paper stands. Like they're basically just little stands, and you can make paper tokens, and I think those are really cool.
You could also do like what I'm doing. For a Frosty job, I needed like, you know, characters' faces for the thumbnails, and I found all the character images from Shadowrun Hong Kong, and I'm just, you know, putting them on the thumbnails.
Yeah.
So it's just random characters from Shadowrun Hong Kong that kind of look like they could be the characters that you're encountering.
I'm waiting to just see you upload a video and then it's just fucking my character's face, because my character is a portrait from Shadowrun Hong Kong.
One of these things. Look, I'm just going through a random select of them, so I'm not paying attention too much. I'm like, does this look like someone from this week's game? That's what I do every time. Is this close enough?
But other thing I've done this week is, as I kind of mentioned off stream, I started playing Temtem. I don't know. I just wanted to do a monster fighter game, and while there are a ton of them, I actually find most of them kind of meh. They really don't have the same charm as like Pokemon. Temtem I know does, which is why I'm delaying it, but it's like I don't know why I avoided Temtem. I just did.
Gotcha.
My heart will always belong to the Monster Rancher franchise.
Man, that was one of those franchises that was so weird, and like, I just remember a friend of mine had that, and just hearing the tales of what he tried to like use to in that game, because from the PlayStation version of it.
Horrifying.
It's such a good game.
Well, Monster Hunter on the PlayStation, one of their features is you could pull out the disc and put another one in and use that to create monsters in the game. So it's sort of like what CD or DVD or like other game you would use to try to create things. And I just remember like talking to my friend who was like, I just put in this like, just this random CD and got this. And it was like, this is so weird.
I mean, my favorite monster is Ducklon. If you want to throw that one into Google, beware.
Oh boy. Warning accepted.
It's something.
So.
I watched
Ducklow?
Duckalon.
L-O-N?
Ducklon.
I just remember also, wasn't there the...
That's a
I
weird
remember
one.
seeing the badly dubbed version, the Monster Hunter anime. Because they had the
Yes.
badly dubbed one in the US here. It wasn't the worst dub. It was like some people that did like Digimon and stuff like that, which was okay, but still very Americanized. It wasn't great, but it was,
Pretty sure that was back when 4Kids was making it. It was dubbing everything.
I believe it was 4Kids, yeah.
It was either 4Kids or the one before 4Kids, because I know Digimon wasn't 4Kids. It was the predecessor of it, because that was the one that came basically when Pokemon came out, and they were like, "Hey, we have to do something too, great!" And then they were like, "Oh, this anime thing," and 4Kids was like, "Hold my beer as I anime things. Don't worry about this." Yes.
Yeah.
Just
Anyway, but yeah, I've tried a few. There's Nexamon I tried. I need the second game is okay. The first game is trash. Well, as far as the monster battling goes, the plot is kind of fun.
Interesting.
What's another one? There's one
Hey,
I
I mean,
absolutely hated.
No Man's Sky is a monster battler now.
Wait, what?
I saw they were doing that, and I just
They,
was like, really?
yeah, they have a monster battler mode now.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Please, Sean Murray, please let me pay you for an update. Just $1.
It's so funny because it
It's
started
okay
out
now.
so
It's
controversial.
okay now. You can release a DLC.
So funny because like it was such a bad launch in terms of like based on what was
It
promised
is,
versus
like,
what he gave.
So impressive. Now.
I think it's that thing of like the turnaround in No Man's Sky is impressive, yes, but it's the one that people like point to as like it can happen with anybody. I'm like, yes, it could, but I feel like it's kind of like when we talk about Baldur's Gate 3. It's an exception to the rule in a lot of ways. Yes, they did a good job. They put their head down and used, know-how to make a great game. Most times you don't get that if it's shitty, unfortunately.
No, it just shuts down when the studio closes.
Yeah. So, it is that exception, unfortunately, but, the Monster Battler is just hilarious at this point in time. I'm not going to lie. It's so
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah, there are a few others I can try. I think this is a monster battler.
I mean, well, Pokemon Champion just came out. Apparently, it's not very good.
So,
That's the thing. Like again, the reason I just don't want to go into Pokemon is because I don't want to buy official hardware, and the other thing is I don't really want to pirate it either. I don't like to pirate things if I can help it.
So here's the thing I can say about, Pokemon and Champions as I've seen it. I watched some gameplay of it. It seems fine
Apparently,
overall.
it's just missing stuff that it was supposed to.
Yeah, I
launch
think
with.
that's the big thing about it is it feels like it is missing a lot. Like I watched Ray play it for like a couple hours. Seemed fun. Seemed fine. Didn't seem something like I'd necessarily want to play in its status at all. So that's another thing too. And the monetization kind of is like one of those things about like it just feels like if they want this to be their official battling game, they should not have gone for this direction. I'm just gonna say it that way,
I'm famously not a Pokemon fan.
Yeah.
Just never got into Pokemon. I have the little guys I like. I've seen the early anime. Anything beyond Gen 3, I have no idea what's happening.
I still enjoy enough of Pokemon Go, and I
Cheers. What's your favorite Pokemon, Tantas?
I think if I'm going to choose one, I have to go for Gumi, just because he's an adorable little dude.
The hell is Goomy?
It is a slug
pretty
that's
good.
technically a dragon, and it goes meh.
Please spell it.
Goomy.
I honestly can't explain why, despite how much I love dragons. Okay, I'm actually curious. Wait,
Well, this
what
is
do you guys
cute. What the
think
hell?
my favorite
Yeah.
Pokemon would be?
And I just like in Pokemon Go. I don't know if you can see that if I tap on it correctly, he goes meh. I just love that little meh. Meh.
I know. Okay, I knew Gudra. I didn't know it had early evolution.
Yeah, Gudra
I'm
is a
actually
thing.
curious.
I'll
I'm
stick
actually
with
curious what
Gooby.
you guys think my favorite would be.
I actually don't know enough Pokemon, but I'm gonna. You seem like a Gyarados guy to me.
I'd go for Rayquaza,
No.
a legendary dragon. It's a
So,
classic dragon.
That's the thing. I really like dragons, but for some reason, my favorite Pokemon is actually Lucario. I don't
Lucario's
know why I
classic.
like Lucario.
Oh, fair.
I don't know.
He's just a little
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny because despite the fact that I love dragons, I actually think it would be Salamence if Salamence didn't burn me as a child.
My-
I spent days in that bat cave looking for a Bagon, and I never found it.
my favorite Pokemon is one that will never get official merchandise. My favorite is Wobbuffet.
Wobbuffet's so good though.
I love him, but he
That's-
has no merchandise.
That's sad. Wobbuffet's a
But
silly
Charizard
little,
is
it's a little guy.
yeah. Charizard is a close second for me.
It's hard for me to say about what's the other one because like I do have some ones I like, but I think like Gumi is the one that I can point out, be like, I just like it because it's funny. You know, that's the kind of thing.
No, Gumi's cute. I like
Yeah.
Gumi.
For me, it's Wobbuffet and it's Ludicolo.
Ludicolo's a good one too.
I can see like Ludicolo. I hate Ludicolo, but I also know it's a Pokemon you either love or hate.
I love him. He's so
it's-
cute. He just looks
it's
so
like
funny.
It's a fun guy, but I don't know why. Just something about him is off-putting to me.
Mm. I think it's that thing of like, I've enjoyed Pokemon Go because it's been an easy way to introduce to a lot of the newer generation stuff that like I wasn't really into a lot of the games, and like I think also like me kind of getting into a couple like MNJTV and his videos and stuff like that which were very nice. Some PokeTubers, a few of them there, not many of them, and watching some of their content has been really fun too. You know, like, and that's been a good way of getting into it on the side there too. Kind of like, you know, seeing some people do stuff for like Warhammer or, you know, there's a couple like things that I've watched from other kind of things, you know, here too. So you get always a couple group of content creators doing different things. Not as many anime people anymore. I guess there's not really like, it's there, but not really like there in big amounts. I've been thinking about that too. Like there's not really like a lot of like anime people as there was like honestly like a decade ago.
That's because everyone just watches anime now. You don't need to explain it to people anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like you still can get occasional like people that talk about things like Star Trek and Star Wars, but those are just as rare too, I feel like.
I think Red Letter Media started up another Star Trek review. I think they're doing Voyager this time.
Interesting. Yeah, no. I think that was the thing I could say about like my day and my week. Technically speaking, I had a very good day earlier because it was one of the community days in Pokemon Go, and it's for the Steel Fairy from the Gen 9, Tinkatink. And I got one really well at home before leaving.
The one with the hammer.
It's the one with the hammer.
Okay.
So I did go out to the park and catch a few more, but it was sort of like I caught one that was like near perfect at home, and I'm like, huh. And it was shiny one at home, you know, because it's the community is like more shiny percentage, cool, great. So it's what I'll send over to home in my my slowly evolving living decks over at home. Which if I ever get a Switch, I'll show that off to people.
God, and good luck. They're only going to go up in price.
Look, you know, I've got other things to invest in right now, unfortunately. So it's not a time for it to be thinking about it. Anyway. So that I think that was like, I don't say that's the highlight of my week, but that's the thing that stands out because it was happening today, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that really like stood out from this week, and other than just the normal stuff, I think it was a fine week. Definitely I had some enjoyment in chatting about different things too.
Yeah.
A topic that I was kind of thinking about that maybe we'll have to do at some point in time that I forgot about until now is it did come up here, so I'll put that on my list here of topics to talk about.
The only other thing I did this week was I started prepping to run Carrion Crown, and boy is it hard finding high resolution images of these maps.
Let me check something here. High resolution, I don't know if
because I have the interactive map book for book 1.
Yeah.
And I've just pulled them from that, but I'm gonna just remake them
where
in Dungeon Draft.
I do have all the interactive maps from 1 through 6 because I got
I
all.
will,
I have the entire. I have the
yeah.
entire adventure path. You know, I got it.
I had the fun time of being like, man, what am I gonna do for book 4? Because this doesn't really fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just chuck them over whenever you get a chance.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that after I remember too.
Throw them in like a Google Drive or something.
Well, so I kind of encountered something really interesting because it was like this point in time this week where I was talking about a topic for one of my videos, and it's this topic that's kind of like semi-official. What I mean by it is like there is like a bunch of like kind of official sources here and there, and then like someone on the what is like the storytellers publication kind of thing for White Wolf put something up there, and it feels like it was kind of like pushed by White Wolf, and that's that kind of thing of like they pushed it because it seemingly was successful, but does that mean it was something that's official? Granted, a lot of times most of the stuff in there that they talk about is kind of connected with official, because I was kind of gonna some information. So it's that kind of weird spot of like it's kind of official but not. It's weird that they have something like that that's like it feels very different than like stuff that people publish for like D&D and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if what I'm imagining is correct, I assume it was a White Wolf like affiliated person actually works there, put this thing up.
Okay.
So that would be a second party thing in my opinion.
That would make sense as to why even under its official like licensed thing where you have to put it up through them to do anything, why it seemingly maybe pushed a little bit more. I was thinking that it might be something like that because it does seem like was trying to like look into stuff on that person does have like a little bit better push and stuff, but and quality. But should we get into our actual topics for this week though? Because we can kind of dive into those. So I got some interesting RPG news to kind of rattle off here to begin with, and let's start with the first one here. Let me get the link for it. If I get to, we're getting a comic book series based around Ravenloft. Is it going to be interesting? I don't know. It's Dark Horse, so
yeah, Dark Horse usually does good stuff. So
yeah, so yes, they're going to be focusing on a monster hunter in Ravenloft. So and they're going after Victra Mordheim.
Oh, that's a weird crossover, Monster Hunter and no, I'm just kidding.
So
love the cover art.
Yeah, the cover art looks really nice. It again, hopefully it's a good one, and we can get some more kind of interesting stories that way. It's one of those things is much as it's the thing that I say, as weird as it is, Warhammer's got a lot more tabletop beat on this kind of thing. They got so much like books and outsourced media that it really helps the story in a lot of ways. You know.
Honestly, I think Dungeons and Dragons would do exceptionally well if they really went that route, where it's like they took a setting. I mean, they kind of did do this with Dragonlance back in the day, but like if they really kind of push, because like part of me feels like a lot of good inspiration comes from media. You know, like right now, Dungeons and Dragons. That's why almost nobody plays in the official Dungeons and Dragons settings, probably because there's just nothing to it. You know, like it's all just, and they never expand it. But like you can expand it slowly through something like a story.
I think truly the problem with Dungeons and Dragons is Wizards doesn't really have their setting. Everything is still a holdover from TSR days.
Yeah,
true.
I mean, the closest thing is Eberron, which they don't technically own.
Yeah, that's in a weird. Yeah, it's like someone else has technically published it through it.
Yeah.
But they do. I mean, they do still do some novels occasionally because I think we still get Dritz novels.
Yeah. It's not a lot.
And I know they do some. My point is that like really getting back into that. Like, because I mean, I'm pretty sure Dragonlance was D&D days.
Dragonlance was TSR.
I'm pretty sure the Dragonlance books were done by Wizards as well, though. I thought they continued.
Well, they did do some continuation. Like early Wizards did continue a bunch of stuff that was in that days. It's kind of why like Salvador has continued his novels in the Dritz series because so he's kept up the deals with Wizards and stuff too.
The first couple of novels came out under TSR.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of Dragonlance novels. They still
and that's what I
technically
mean.
make them.
I'm
kind
pretty
of.
certain the majority. That's the thing.
Most of
like, I
them
haven't
have
seen-
come up under Wizards because the 2000s had a lot of Dragonlance books.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I remember Dragonlance. I didn't even realize at the time that it was based off Dungeons and Dragons. I just like I loved the Dragonlance stuff, and that was the early 2000s, so I know it was Wizards.
Because with them seemingly going back to Greyhawk, I would hope that they maybe would start doing novels for Greyhawk.
Be nice. Again, it's like one of those things is.
Or
I feel
hey,
like
if you want to bring back Dark Sun, that one's good for novels.
it's really
It's
good. For
very
novels, I think.
compelling.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one for like novels and stuff like that.
It's a very compelling setting. So.
Yeah. I was definitely gonna say like I think the problem with like Forgotten Realms is yes we got like everything with going on with you're fighting against Dritz and his story in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, you're competing against that, and the entire setting is kind of a mess that they only focus on that like one little area 99% of the time. That makes it sort of like it feels like the world is so small.
Yeah, and there's so much more to the world that they could focus on. I mean, like they still hold the copyright or the trademarks and stuff to things like Red Wizards of Thay, and it's all like, well, why don't you ever go to that area and do something with it?
Well, because they kind of screwed the pooch on that because they had Zaztan win and basically take over the country and redo everything. So a lot of the politicking and what made Thay really interesting and still an enemy went away. So it's now just oops all necromancers.
You could still do something.
I
with
kind of think
you could, but a
but
lot
this is
less.
like-
They kind of like screwed the pooch on a lot of ideas.
this
in a lot of
is
ways.
very tangenty. I think honestly, for the best would be to just. I think Wizard just needs to make a new setting.
I agree. I think it's great.
I honestly think they really could do well. Again, we're still talking though as if they actually have anyone who's willing to be creative in the higher ups.
I mean,
And
right,
so it's
exactly.
like
No, realistically, what we're gonna get is, hey, people played D&D in the '90s, so let's just bring back all the old stuff
yeah.
and mildly ruin it like we ruined Spelljammer and Planescape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's just kind of like we're talking like, oh man, it'd be cool, but they actually need some freaking good leadership in there to actually make that happen with some, actual creative leads and people who can actually do some freaking work.
Yep.
Also, Paizo should start doing novels again. This is my other hot take.
I agree with that.
I
one, too.
actually, I honestly think same thing for them. I think they'd get a lot out of.
So
Honestly,
think the last there was I don't know if it's out yet, but there was I think it's Operation Hellmouth is like a new novel that came out recently, which is
Yeah.
like it's a campaign setting, but it is very novel-ish.
yeah.
So I would hope that if that does well, I hope they do get back into doing novels.
I agree.
They did do one for God's Reign.
That's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, so that was pretty recent as well. Let's see.
Because I always felt that Tyrant's Grasp should have just been a 3-part novel series instead of an adventure.
Yeah. So. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on topics here on our little RPG things. Dark Horse, other than doing the comic book series, which they're doing, is also going to be publishing a TTRPG of Our Brilliant Ruin. Now, I've heard of Our Brilliant Ruin. I don't know a lot about it. I've heard of it more my name.
Well, I tried to go to their website and their website's down.
Yeah. Okay, so Polygon's article on it, which I guess I can share this one here, because, now
It was a Kickstarter, that's why I know it.
we could have talked about it on the Kickstarter, did we? They published a
That's
comic
working
book
for me.
series for it in March of 2025, okay. It wasn't Kickstarter last year, so we might have talked about it then a little bit. But now this is the place where it's going. They describe it basically as a little bit of Downton Abbey meets cosmic horror, like a world that's falling through cosmic forces and stuff like that. And I guess you're trying to keep
Neat.
society up.
Wait, why is this?
That was a weird siren
Nice.
going by. Did someone's siren partially break? It's like as they were going by there. Yes. So it's very like, class structure, ruins, kind of stuff like that. So it seems neat, but it's coming out now soon. All right.
Wait, is it free?
No, it'll retail for $60.
No,
There might be like a
I looked
quick
at their
start or something like
website.
that.
I'm checking
Huh.
because I went because their website. Version 1. Our Brilliant Ruin version 1.4 is $0 on.
It might be test
Drive-Thru
content.
RPG. That would probably be it.
Yeah. Core book still got price.
Because the core book on Amazon is listed for $60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, this is probably some kind of thing. I that's weird that they said it that they put it in the way because they did. Well, I don't know. Is this a full thing?
Up at the
Wait,
website.
oh, does this say? Hold on. I honestly think this is the full thing.
I mean, it might just be for a physical book they're charging.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are. That's very interesting.
Physical books be expensive to produce.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah, I'm like, oh, they have a link to the TRPG, and it's like, get it on Drive-Thru or PDF, get it on Drive-Thru RPG. I clicked on it
Interesting.
on their website, and it linked to this, and
Very
it was
cool.
$0.
Interesting.
And yeah, like I have a bunch of stats and stuff, and everything seems to be making sense. Quick look.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think that's really cool.
up for free.
I mean,
wow.
yeah, I mean, if they made enough from their Kickstarter,
True.
they might only have to charge for the book, physical.
Not terrible. I mean, like again, there are plenty of people that are going to want a physical book. Definitely. Is one
They
of
also
those
have a
things.
free map pack. Tantus, you should get that, so you actually have maps.
We should. Extra maps. Yeah. I'll sign into
Maps are cool.
Tantus doesn't use enough of them, in my opinion.
I do keep thinking about like using more for our game and stuff too that we've been doing and like switching the maps around, but it's been like I just haven't done it yet. So probably should some point. Anyway, okay. I'm just gonna put this to the side. I'll remember it later, or not remember it. We'll see. Anyway, another thing apparently Dark Horse is doing a bunch of TTRPGs right now because they're also going to be putting out a English version of the Octopath Traveler RPG, which was published in Japan by Square Enix. So
yeah, I was wondering if Square was gonna do more tabletop RPGs because the Final Fantasy one sold quite well.
yeah. Again, Octopath Traveler is one of the RPGs that they do that I know by name, but I don't know a lot about.
Octopath Travelers, all 3 games are very good.
Yeah, I've heard that, and that's the best I can say. Heard good things about it. It looks neat, but I've seen it, but never played it yet. So definitely, if you are interested in that, that's another one to check out, and will be up. Do we have a day?
Oh, it's a video.
October.
Game. Okay.
Yeah, it's the HD 2D style video games that they've been doing.
Yeah. So
I'm sure. I just want more games in that style.
Yeah, it's a really nice style. I think that would be good for like a Final
Very
Fantasy game.
Paper Mario-esque.
I kind of say like, honestly speaking, just do it like a new Final Fantasy in that style, and I think it would be fine because they could also not spend like a billion years making it.
No, you don't understand. People hate turn-based games.
Like
I mean,
again,
to be fair, I've almost always hated Final Fantasy's turn-based game style.
I mean, then you might like 16, where it's just basically Devil May Cry.
Oh, 16 is very good.
Well, I'm not
but
saying it's not
also
bad.
It's also not really a Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
to be fair,
they've experimented and done some very different
reason I have narrowed down why I hate them, and the big thing is they really just it always has felt just so pick the best thing and you win kind of in most of them. That's why I like things like
Yeah.
Pokemon and stuff, where it's like you actually have to know, and even if you don't know, you can guess what type the creature is, and there's
A
different.
big part
you know,
of the original 6
strategy.
games is kind of getting to that point where you can just auto battle everything.
Yeah. I mean, that's
the
why I
original 6
like
games of what?
Final Fantasy. I mean, that's why I did
Yeah.
like the pixel remasters they did, because it had that button for auto battle, and I'm just like, yes, I can grind without actually
Yeah,
grinding.
I'm gonna rant. It's me, Mom. I'm gonna rant for a second. Hey, Nintendo, you know how you guys put Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Switch? You know what Square Enix did when they remade these? They put quality of life in their games. Please start doing that.
Yes, please.
You know they didn't.
Yeah, Nintendo never does. Pokemon Company and Nintendo never do when they put stuff up.
You're literally just running an emulator. Put a fast forward button in the damn game.
Yes, the emulators have a fast
Like-
forward button.
Yep. No, I know, and that's the thing. It's all like they have accelerator buttons. It's like you totally could do this.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
To be fair, Nintendo likes to pretend that it's higher quality than it is. Oh no, we're actually running the real game. No, you're not.
Yeah, sure.
wink, wink. Sure, you are. Fantasy Age is up on Roll20 now officially.
Yay.
So it had a lot better support, and if you want to do, I think that'll help with it, doing any of the age systems, I assume. Then up on Roll20, if you want to start doing those, hey, cool. Probably better character sheets, better
Sweet.
books and stuff like that. A compendium, that's good. You know, it's a good thing. I think that's the easiest thing to say. It's a good thing.
Just to make fun of you here for a second, in your docket, Octopath Traveler has 2 A's.
Nice.
And you did not put a comma between TTRPG and Fantasy.
I fixed that.
See?
I saw it after I put it in the docket on Discord. I fixed it there. That's the only one I noticed. Okay, I noticed that one at least.
Tanthus, I want to bring this up to you.
Sure.
Because I saw this the other day scrolling through stuff.
Mhm.
Because you ran Pathfinder 2 on Foundry, there is a new Pathfinder 2e Roll20 sheet.
Ooh.
It is the Debbie Plane sheet.
I'll check that one out then. Again, like,
I mean, the sheet we were using was totally fine.
What was ugly was the problem.
it's the thing of like, it's as I did with Shadowrun. They were pretty close to each other, and it came down to, I'm gonna be honest, how I liked the sheet more than one or than the other.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they were pretty equal. And I think it's like, I'm fine with doing either Foundry or Roll20. It's just which one sometimes has slightly better sheet
figured
or
I'd bring
something
it up
like
because
that.
they did do a second option for Pathfinder.
I'll have to look into it to see if it improves anything, because there was some. Like,
It's a lot.
I like Foundry
better.
for it,
It
but,
reads
like,
a lot better.
but there still were a
than
couple
the-
issues, you know. But I did like what we were doing on Foundry, so I don't know if that'll be enough to, when I do another 2e, bring me back to Roll20. I like having the option of a
I mean, Foundry also has the
Digital tabletop.
compendium, so
yes, which is nice. So do you want an anthology of very 32-bit video game inspired TTRPGs? Because apparently there is one now. Harble Deal's
Nice.
bringing out MemoryCore, which is an anthology set of 6 32-bit era inspired TTRPGs. Solid State Machine, Blood Song, Extraction Protocol, Core Bound Chronicles, Final Torment, and Overdrive Crew that come in basically PlayStation style boxes, packaging. And come with the box and some dice and stuff there too. Honestly, it's cool. It's like, you know, yes, probably I'm going to assume it's a lot of games that they're working on and stuff too, or have some connection to. Cool. But like, it's a fun style, you know, they're going.
Yeah.
You're just looking at the like images of like here. So the solid state machine, which is definitely not coded towards Metal Gear Solid.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Or Blood Song,
Blood
which
Song
is
is
very
just Castlevania.
just Castlevania. So, as I've been continuing our little bits of diving in on Shadowrun 6e here and there and how they're improving it, this one's less improving it, and one that I think it's a very interesting setting to go to, because it's one that it's not terrible, because it's, strangely enough, one of the better cities in Shadowrun. They're doing a book based around Denver. Yes, Denver, which we meme upon nowadays, in Shadowrun, it turned out really well because apparently it
you mean
couldn't get any
Detroit?
worse. I'm sorry, Detroit. Did I say Denver? I
You
did-
said
I did-
Denver.
Yeah, you said
I did.
Denver.
I mean Detroit. Sorry, Detroit.
I mean, yeah, Detroit
was-
is, I believe, the safest city in UCAS, canonically.
Yeah, so it's like it turned around. It's like we already kind of sucked, so when everything fell, we just got better. So good for them. Look, sorry, Detroit. You're beamed on a little bit here. I know there's nice places in you, but I'm
Look,
not gonna-
I mean, Denver does exist in
Yeah,
Shadowruns.
it does.
I don't believe it's a particularly great area. I think there's a dragon there.
There's a dragon there, and also there's it's technically owned by 4 nations or something like that because it's the treaty city, so it's weird. But yes, it's basically going to be doing some stuff for urban-based stuff, so probably a few little mechanics and going on in very shadow, literal shadow stuff beneath the surface in a city. Again, Seattle. If I visit Seattle and Shadowrun, as much as yes, stuff goes beneath the shadows, there's a lot of stuff that happens noticeably on the surface.
Yeah.
This is definitely a city where it's a lot less, noticing that kind of crap. So it's interesting to kind of see that too as a juxtaposition. So yeah, cool book there. And then Paizo's giving us the magic book that's got Necromancer and some new stuff too.
Neat.
So Impossible Magic is coming out in July.
More options are good.
Yeah, and they're and Summoner
Yeah.
too. So the Necromancer and Summoner were pretty cool ideas. From when I remember looking at them during their playtest.
I also did get this since we're talking about Paizo. It's
Ooh.
fine, but it's just I finally got it. I talked about it previously
Yeah.
through the PDF.
Hmm.
Most of the changes were art.
Yeah.
I meant.
So cool.
Anyway, just want to bring that up since I was thinking about
Yeah.
it.
With
But yeah,
schools
no,
of
it's going
exchange-
to be the Magus. It's going to be the Magus, the Necromancer, the Summoner, and one more.
Runesmith.
Runesmith, thank you.
Yeah. Which the Runesmith seems like an interesting idea because a lot of the now magic armor and weapons deal with runes, so I'm interested in how that'll interact with all that kind of stuff there too.
Yeah, I honestly suspect it's going to be kind of a Magus type mixed fighter.
Mhm.
And I assume they're going to work similar. I assume they're going to have bits similar. I assume they're going to be similar to the Exemplar in terms of the fact that they kind of will be able to assign different powers and just pick and choose stuff.
So again,
That's my assumption, at least.
It's 4 classes, 2 which are returning ones, which honestly, I like both Magus and Sorcerer, and I'm sorry, Summoner, even though they have wild issues in 1E, so I'm glad to have them kind of back in the remaster.
Well,
different
they were
reasons.
they were in Secrets of Magic previously.
Yeah.
This is, by the way, their update to Secrets of Magic.
Yeah.
So I assume they're gonna have a ton of new spells and stuff too.
Yeah. I'm just curious of the updates and stuff.
Yeah, 240 spells and items.
That's good.
derived From Impossible Lands.
More magic options are always good too. I like being able to look and be like, what spell should I take? This is interesting, cool. And I'm not gonna lie, I do feel like I feel like that's very good because again, I'm going to go back to playing with Joe's game. The amount of times where I'm like, I need a bard spell. What do I have? And then I sigh and choose between 2 because all the options I have that are actually any useful.
Yeah.
And that includes all the books for D&D. Sorry, I'm gonna just look at you, D&D, and just shake my head. Anyway. Last thing is another little update from Paizo. They have a Humble out right now for their cause. So again, as we say with most Humbles, check out, see if the cause here is interesting to you. You can see what's in it. The combo of those 2 things. Make sure if you want to see it. Their cause on here is Comic Books for Kids. So, a reading-based kind of charity, I think. But if you want to look into it a lot more, you can too.
I'm just kind of curious.
Providing kids comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers. Yes. Okay.
It's always quite nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm still thinking about the Impossible Magic. I'm kind of curious why they decide to make a full new Impossible Magic instead of updating Secrets of Magic. Because up until now they've been just remastering their old books. So I don't know why they've decided to do that.
Well, I think it's because for one thing we
For
do
this
have
one.
the Necromancer and Rudesmith are new, I believe. So those are new
Yes,
classes.
they are.
So I think because they're not doing like a full remaster of the entire thing where they're just updating stuff, I think they did want to separate it out a little bit too with new classes,
Yeah,
and they might
I mean,
do some
I
other
think
new
they
stuff too.
did put a bunch of spells from Secrets of Magic into the Player Core and Player Core 2, which might
Yeah.
be part of it. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I just found it interesting. Like they could have stuck with the same name, but then it wouldn't have been a remaster. It would have been different. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a kind of balancing act, I think too. But
To be fair, I think they were planning a new the magical classes, and I think when it came time to redo Secrets of Magic, maybe they just decided to make a new book because they had the 2 new classes and some other stuff they were working on. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm just kind of curious.
Anyway, the humbles for 30 if you don't want any, if you just want the PDFs, or like 45 minimum for if you want the hardcore NPC core. So yeah. And it's a bunch of adventures, second edition stuff, and they apparently have the Agents of Edgewatch, the full adventure there, and also some Pathfinder Society scenarios. I can speak English very well, and a bunch of other things. So if you're interested, go check it out. Okay. So I want to talk a little about something related to Magic the Gathering, because they're doing some stuff which, honestly speaking, I really am happy about, on top of all the shit they're doing. Because again, I can talk about how I can complain about Universes Beyond. That's an entirely different thing. But product lines, that's kind of a thing with how they're doing cards. We've gotten 3 things they've kind of showed off here, which I'm giving big thumbs up on, which they kind of had disappeared for a while. The first off is, which I actually hadn't noticed they had done with Lorem and Equips, is they had done 60-card theme decks. They've been so up Commander's ass, I thought they were never going to do these again. Which, I'm going to stop back here and say, 60-card format is the majority of Magic formats. Commander is an exception to the rule. Yes, it's good as a casual experience, it's fun, but like, there are a lot of other formats that are different, and like, some people want to play with multiple cards of the same thing and have different kind of strategies. And you can play these even casually. You can play standard casually. You can play modern casually with your friends. You can play legacy, vintage, Pioneer, I think is another one.
No, I think Pioneer's dead.
Shame. But again, like, there are a lot of other formats out there, and so starting out with 60-card decks, good. It's a different kind of playstyle.
Yeah, no, if you're learning Magic, you should start with Standard, because Commander is complicated.
Commander is incredibly complicated and not a good starting point.
Also, it takes like 2 hours to do a Commander game.
Yes. While a standard game could take you maybe like 10 to 15 minutes at most.
How often do they release like starter decks like this? Like just starter decks in general.
So for Standard, they haven't done it in a while.
Yeah.
It used to be every set.
Yeah. It used to be every set.
For Commander, it's not always every set for Commander, because there's a couple times they kind of skipped it.
Yeah.
They skipped Avatar, I think. They didn't do any precons for Avatar.
I did see in Avatar there was I was like looking up starter decks, and it did mention there was like a beginner box you could get which had a starter deck as part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know they didn't do dedicated Commander decks for Avatar.
Yeah, I think they had something, but it wasn't like I just buy a small 60-card box that is a deck.
Avatar was kind of full of, we're gonna try a bunch of products.
Yes.
And a lot of them flopped.
Yeah. I think what's been going on is when Commander got popular, they just made Oops All Commander, where they used to have it like for a lot of years, a set of Commander decks every year, and then they started making those with sets, and then they got rid of the basically intro packs that they had. These used to be called intro packs because they'd be like, you'd have 2 to 5 packs with a set, where these would be like decks based around the mechanics of the set, about playing it and all those kind of things that dealt with it. And they usually had like only a couple rares in there. It had like a top tier rare, and it just was like, a good fun thing to kind of get into it. And a starter deck if you wanted to play with one of the major mechanics of a set.
I think
You can't do that with Commander.
I think I still have my Jason Braska dual deck
Ooh, yeah, the dual
somewhere.
decks.
Because those are also a really good product. Because you got 2 decks for the price of
Oh, yeah.
not that much.
Dual decks
We
were
did
really
have one
good.
for Bloomborough.
Yeah, but yeah, Lorem and Crypts, they had the theme decks, they call them now. I have to see if when theme decks came back. Theme decks, MTG. Where's your history of it over here? Cryptic theme decks. Just to see when we got them. So event decks were discontinued after Battle of Zendikar.
Yeah.
And it looks like, when did intro packs kind of go away? I'm not sure because they don't talk about that very well here on the thing.
Yeah, I'm just curious because like I know for a fact that starter decks were, and I'm pretty sure still are, quite a staple for getting started in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes, in every other game there were good starter decks. I think with Jumpstart there were some products that might have been kind of there.
Yes,
but
Jumpstart kind of replaced it for a little bit, I think.
But Jumpstart, it's its kind of own thing, you know, and it's they have not had very good intro packs for a long time, and they've just been relying on, honestly, people teaching them or people going into the deep end on Commander and hoping for the best, which is a mess.
Yeah, man, I kind of wish I knew there was a Bloomborough one. I might have bought that.
Yeah.
To have a deck. I don't know. For as little as I care about playing Magic the Gathering in real
The
life,
only-
it'd be kind of fun to have a deck.
The only physical deck I bought out of these recently, I bought the Final Fantasy XIV Commander deck because I play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV.
That was another one they did have. They did have them in Final Fantasy.
Those ones are really hard to find for a while, and then all of a sudden it's like they're in stock everywhere, and the price has collapsed.
Yeah, I think they were replaced with starter kits, which starter kits were meant for I'm gonna say this: starter kits are really made for starters. The deck that they are selling here is basically, I want to get into basic play. It's a step up. These are usually these theme decks are. Like, it's a step up from what the starter set would have been from, like, Bloomborough and stuff like that. Because
yes, they're not overly complicated. The mechanics are quite simple. It's enough to teach you the game in a relatively easy way.
It's your like
And
level 2 deck, kind of, I would say, for like difficulty.
I know for a fact, like that's the thing. Even in Yu-Gi-Oh, the starter decks were never like the best. They were literally meant to give you good cards, but not like the best cards. Like just a good decent spread that you could use to get started, and then you customize it from there. That's why it's just like I'm just kind of like, I feel like I've seen so much about this game. I haven't seen that. They did have a few apparently recently, but it's like, yeah, this is really how you get people into your game, is by having really cool themes that you can just buy a pack and be like, ooh, I got this cool thing. It works decently well. I can play it and have fun. I don't have to put in effort, and I can learn from there.
I'm not gonna lie, these decks are actually not bad because they have a lot more rares and some mythics in them than the old days. I think they're probably going to charge you more for them. They're probably going to be like, I'm not going to lie, 20 or 30 a piece. But they have like an actual selection of like cards you would play with from standard now. Like, I'm looking at some of them
judging by the Lorwyn ones, those are $20.
Okay. Because Eerie has 2 Angelic Destinies, which are mythics from the Jumpstarts. That's the current one. Jumpstart the starter. I'm trying to think about it.
I couldn't tell you. I'm so far out of knowing anything about standard anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing. Is I just was thinking about that because, I'm like, this is like the first time I've heard of like a starter deck in a while.
It's just an unfortunate thing that Magic starter decks have kind of been out here. But so this is one of the things that I'm like, it's very good for them to start getting back into these. Thumbs up,
Please make the game accessible for new people.
Yeah, because like it's funny because I'd looked it up and I found a wiki that listed kind of like starter deck releases, and there was like one every year up till like 2023.
Yeah.
Apparently.
It's a thing of like, you still did have those starter things, and then occasionally we would get, and we used to have with the sets, as we said, these 60 card pre-made decks, which were sort of like the next level up from the starter stuff. So you could still, like, with a core set, you'd get the starter pack, you'd learn how to play, kind of things like that. Then you'd get one of the, like, oh, I want to get it from this set. I get this, like, intro pack, which tells me it's diving deeper into the mechanics of the sets and stuff, too. It's my first actual deck to play with, because the starter stuff usually is not really good cards. It's sort of like, this teaches you how to play, not really making it any level of competitive deck. And I do have to admit, there was a lot of years that those decks they were selling with the sets they weren't bad, but they were like, you really just needed to get a few more cards to make them anything anywhere.
Yeah, and the nice thing about the starter decks too is they usually print so many of them that they never get super expensive.
Yeah.
Apparently, well, I don't know if I can trust this little wiki stub that says in 2022 they started doing them in Universes Beyond to reach people from outside the franchise.
So that they did have some Universes Beyond decks you could buy.
Yeah, no, and I'm thinking about it. I feel like they did. I think they did a Spider-Man one. They did the Final Fantasy one. And I'm like, wait, have they really been focusing on starter decks for the out of game content?
Yes.
And I'm like, that's kind of stupid.
Yes. It's, again, like, I'm glad they kept with starter decks, but, like, I wanted this, like, this is the interim. This is the interim product, and I'm good we got it, like, the next level back up, for at least standard.
Because I feel like the ones I heard about recently, Avatar, Spider-Man, and Final Fantasy, those have been the recent starter decks I vaguely remember hearing about.
They're made to, and they're also made to be like these two-player thing to like learn the game.
Out of universe.
Yeah, and they're
Final
all out of
Fantasy you
universe.
can at least use in everything.
The other thing is that I saw that is something that I'm very happy that's going to be happening is what I'm showing off on my image here is that Strixhaven is going to have an actual interesting pre-release, which we haven't had. I don't remember the last time. We might have had one that I missed, but they're doing like a themed pre-release to each of the colleges. This is something they used to do a lot more. Like when you went to a pre-release, you'd choose, like, if you went to Alara, you'd have one of the Alara shards or something like that. Or, you went to Tarkir, you'd choose one of the clans or something like that. And that would be your pre-release pack and stuff like that. We haven't had a lot of that, It's just been, like, pre-release. I mean, even in Lorwyn, they just had, like, it's the Lorwyn pre-release, yay. So, again, like, these are fun. It makes it more interesting in a lot of ways, makes you kind of more invested, and I'm just happy that we have it again, even if, like, I've missed them doing a little bit of it before.
I'll be curious to see if we ever do, like, the numbers of how well these things have been doing.
Pre-release is so hard to judge.
Because you could obviously be like, oh, they're doing this to pull people back because Spider-Man didn't do so well. That's likely simply false because these were likely planned well in advance of Spider-Man coming out.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see how well this does, if this does better than other pre-releases.
They are probably at least a year and a half advanced starting planning on stuff. Granted, like, things that are more year out, they can probably do a little bit of shifting for, but they're probably already on some basics for it, that there's things that they can't change,
As far as like, I feel like they can change certain dates and stuff up to like 6 months ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, like, major mechanics and changes. Like, again, we got the feeling that the Spider-Man set was going to be originally the size of the Assassin's Creed set, and then it was just bigger. Everything screams of that. I think Wizards hasn't confessed that, but all, like, everything
the card
that
design
and everything we've seen from, like, empirical evidence that's around.
I think someone's looked at I think it was like the number of rares and stuff. It's like, yeah, this is definitely supposed to be smaller because it's a bit padded.
Yeah, but again, that means they shifted that somewhere along in the construction of it. And again, I think that's also a thing. Universes Beyond might be planned out a little bit more advanced, so they might have a little bit more buffer.
It likely has to be due to the amount of communication these companies have to have.
So I assume, like, they're probably the ones that can shift a little bit better than our like in-universe stuff. But
Because for damn well, for Final Fantasy, Square Enix is like, we want to approve every card.
yeah. So pre-release stuff, that's cool. And the last one I wanted to kind of throw out here is that I'm unsure if we had a bunch of these, but they're cool to have. Welcome decks. We're getting Strixhaven and technically Marvel welcome decks, which are fun. And if you don't know what a welcome deck is, it's basically something that traditionally...
It's a 40 card, right?
It's like a 40 card, basically commons and uncommons that you can just give out. You tended to get them for free at places.
I remember this
just commons
being
and uncommons.
this was a thing for Spider-Man, and so many people unfortunately took advantage of it.
Ooh, that sucks there. That if they had them in Spider-Man too. Again, Spider-Man was so like outside my wheelhouse. If they did some interesting things like this, I missed it.
Honestly, I might like go and get one of these.
Yeah,
because I am interested in Strix. I mean, I might just go to the Strixhaven pre-release.
You know, Strixhaven does seem really fun and really nice, and like
it's also an original set.
Yeah,
it's so funny because I'm so interested to like try all of this and to go and like do this stuff, but I'm like, I don't want to get into this. I don't want.
It's a very expensive hobby. That's why I mostly play digitally.
I'm so like. Here's the thing. I'm so sad I didn't hear as much as I'm hearing about Strixhaven as I did about Concept to Cure, because Concept to Cure went like so quickly. We've at least had not a lot of time, but a little time to work with Strixhaven, that I feel like I've heard more about it, and I'm so sad because I'm hearing about the story and learning about it finally. Some interesting things happened there. Yeah, I didn't know until like a couple weeks ago. Goddamn, Nicol Bolas is out in the universe again. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting story. He doesn't planeswalker anymore, so he's like just going Omen path. But that's a story.
Tarkir got smushed right behind Final Fantasy, which took priority.
Yeah, it's just
I mean, at least I feel like they are putting a lot of effort into Strixhaven. I feel like this is more effort into a non-Universes Beyond set than I've seen in a while. I feel like
the reason I think this is me putting tinfoil hat on. The reason I feel like they're doing this with Strixhaven is they can launch Strixhaven from Magic to, we're doing another D&D book for Strixhaven.
Possible. I also think it might have something to do with the fact that they were sued by their investors for diluting the. They settled out of court.
Yeah.
So that we don't know what the actual agreement was, but they probably did come to some agreement. And I would not be surprised if part of it was to put more advertising into the in-universe stuff.
Yeah.
To keep the brand healthy.
Yeah, that actually could be a reason behind it. That could be on the upper end reason of it, that we are getting at least a decent amount of hype behind this too. Again, like
it is because this is another super spicy, not spicy D&D take I have. 5e has a lack of lots of the original settings. You could literally just start plucking magic settings, like you did with Ravnica and Theros.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that would actually be healthy. for
you giving it like and also the reason they're also doing magic novels again, which they didn't for a very long time because someone did a really bad writing.
Yes, a very bad writing that everybody
basically ruined a character.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I think was very interesting thing is that I feel like it's a good idea for them to develop things to use for like, because these are original worlds that they could use in D&D, and that might be a good way to develop both of them in many ways. And it's the same thing about like when I heard someone, the professor made a video like what he was predicting might come in the future for Magic in the upcoming years, and one of the ones he said was there are some universes beyond he can kind of point out and predict, and he basically said, hey, what about Power Rangers? And I said, like, what about that? And I'm like, oh yeah, Hasbro owns that. They could just do Magic the Gathering Power Rangers. Now granted, that one I'm shaking my head a little bit at, but I'm also like, it's technically fictional versions of Earth, and it's a step up from goddamn Avengers.
I don't like it,
but I like it more than the other ones.
I actually do think after this year we're probably going to see less Universes Beyond, because I have to assume they have not seen the profit levels they want after Final Fantasy stopped.
No, I think there was a big rebound and probably some profits from Spider-Man. I think that it was kind of calming down, and I think Avatar did reasonably well, but I kind of feel like
I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is gonna probably do as good or worse than Spider-Man.
I think it will money wise, because honestly speaking, like from what I've heard and seen about, as much as I don't like the Teenage Mutant Turtles
It's like
sets,
fine
I think
card-wise.
it's better than Spider-Man was.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the thing. Is like it's better than that last one. So sort of like mechanics and card wise, you're a step
you're
up,
also-
but still like.
Because like you're also at the point Final Fantasy, beloved franchise, everyone knows what Final Fantasy is.
Mhm.
It has a very wide fandom. Spider-Man, people know Spider-Man. People like Spider-Man. Not it's a little more niche, and now you're Ninja Turtles, which is super niche. And then at the end of there, you've got Star Trek, which is even more niche.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, certainly speaking, okay, we got Marvel Heroes as a set. Like, I'm like, yeah, but like, I feel like everybody has already experienced it when it comes experienced Marvel once when it came to Spider-Man. So you've already kind of like tainted the pot a little bit too.
Doing
And this is probably not
Doing
even the last one.
Marvel-
They might be doing like goddamn 5 of these goddamn sets for one of each of the Soul Stones, and I really hate that.
doing Marvel now is also not a great decision.
Yeah,
Because Marvel fatigue still very much exists.
it's like I'm not saying that there aren't some like decent Marvel properties nowadays, but they're few and far between. Like Daredevil, people seem to like. I heard good things about Wonder Man, even though I didn't see that one.
Yeah,
But, like,
Wonder Man I've heard was good.
But these are also Disney Plus and not their main movies. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
the MCU is actually quite like. Well, I mean, the quality has gone down quite badly.
It's not that we can't still get a good Marvel movie. It's just it's a lot harder nowadays, unfortunately, because they just lost that momentum in a lot of ways. So I don't know. But so yeah, those are those things there for that, and that's the magic little thing I wanted to dive into, because I think these are some interesting directions that are honestly pretty good. You know, 3 things that I think to point out there that I'm like, hey, you know, some like intro packs, like more than just starter basic level packs that you can buy, pre-release stuff that looks really cool, and I'm like happy for that. And then of course the welcome packs, I'm really good thumbs up for. Anyway, we're getting some shit from Gary Gygax's corpse.
Oh, nice! They're beating that one again.
Oh yeah, no. So this is basically they're pulling a Tolkien. They have some things that he partially worked on, and they are releasing 2 things that are they're manuscripts. So the stuff that he was working on. And here's what I'm going to say. Gary Gygax was an interesting person. We can talk good or bad about him. But one thing I will admit is he could write a good D&D adventure. You know,
Yeah.
He really was a good person at that kind of thing. You know, beyond any kind of, certainly business-sized personal stuff, if you don't want to get into anything else about that man. Terrible businessman. Really bad businessman. You know. But so these are very interesting things. Apparently, it's the second part of the Troller Games Castle Zygrad, and then that's a reimagining of the original Castle Greyhawk kind of information that he had worked on, and then also there's from Pulse Publishing's Castle Wolfmoon that apparently Chris Clark had been working with him to make back after TSR was bought by WotC. And so these are 2 different kind of things that he was working on. It's interesting that they're kind of both coming out now, but it sounds like by different people, but like, yeah. They're both castle based. So yeah. Again, this is all stuff that these are things that were never quite finished, and you know, with Gary passing away, you know, they were never done, and they're being brought to light. And these are things that he worked on. Again, one is the second part of something, and the other one is one that he was working on after, you know, the TSR died.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see. Are they going to be great? I don't know. I'm sure they'll have a Gary Gygax feel to him, and maybe whoever's been like finishing up, polishing them up, has taken a little bit of like a, you know, modern take on them. We don't know a lot about them, but if you're interested in something, because these are technically part of history. I mean, it's kind of like the same way that I'm blanking on the name. Tolkien published after his death. Come on, brain.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Was that the Silmarillion? Or is it a different one I'm trying to think of?
No, I think you said it right. Yes, that book was published using Tolkien's unfinished notes and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I have my opinions on, personally.
what was published using his
The
unfinished stuff.
Silmarillion.
There you
Yeah,
go.
the Silmarillion. To be fair, like looking into it a little bit, like I need to listen to it because I've listened to The Lord of the Rings recently, but I stopped before the Silmarillion. But I thought, like, based on what was like, it was based on something I was listening to around that. It seemed that his father worked with him a
Yeah.
bit and let him do it.
It's
So it wasn't
largely
entirely-
my opinions are it's largely uninteresting and not very readable.
That's fair.
But
Yeah,
yes.
it's kind of interesting to know. I don't know why. Before I heard all that detail, I thought it was very much a like thing where the son. Oh well, I have this franchise. Let me do something and do it without his permission. But no, he was down.
There are other books in the Lord of the Rings franchise that have been released that are that, but the Silmarillion is not quite that.
Yep.
So
And maybe that's where I got confused. But
yes, this is definitely stuff that Gary Gygax wrote. It seems like both of these were definitely post TSR era. So this was back end of his days, that he was working on.
It says here that it was like basically WotC asked him to help make some more adventures. So
It's pretty cool.
and he said sure.
I hope
So-
they're good.
hope they're
As
good.
far as I know,
I-
Gygax wasn't like the most terrible person, so
Yes, that's what I mean. Like he had his ups and downs, certainly speaking.
he's of the time where people just had some weird opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've said it before. Like people hate on people, like in the before the 80s, but in that period, they didn't have the internet. They couldn't look up whether or not their things were offensive or not.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we learned or developed about that came with the time and age and knowledge.
And the fact that he mellowed out over time helped.
He likely
If he
was a product of his time, and that comes with every view of that time.
Yeah.
Right?
And evolving and learning is a good thing, and it seems like
It's not like he wasn't Lovecraft.
Granted, I don't think he ever became a good businessman. Sorry, Gary, you never really were.
God, no.
But at least you seeming like at your later age became a better person. Thumbs up. You improved as a person over time. Not businessman, but person. Look, I'm sorry. This is the one thing I will always rag on Gary Gygax about. Terrible businessman. We all have heard the horror stories of TSR.
Yeah, I'll just drop this bit. He wasn't the one who did the really, really insensitive Asia and Africa settings.
Yeah.
In fact, I read a thing where he actually didn't want to do some of those settings. He was actually like against it, but he got pressured by fans and other people in his company to do it, and so he did. And he was like, "Yeah, I knew this wouldn't turn out well. People were offended. I did want to."
Yeah. So those are cool things, and I kind of want to dive into that one. I think this is one of those ones that I feel like just discussing it a little bit here. I think it's not as bad as with Tolkien, but it's one of those things. Is I am curious as to how deeply they're connecting to his stuff. How much are they going to like edit it more for a modern day? Like it is technically a reimagining of what he put together, but there's a lot of questions I have about it that are like are interesting, because this is something based on.
If it's not a meat grind, look, if it's not a meat grind, it's not Gygax.
True.
So
if there isn't a system of portals that all look identical, and then one of them is suddenly a sphere of annihilation, it's not Gygax.
Yep. Look, if you get to the end of this and you're not on your fourth character, then it's done wrong.
Yeah, it looks like some of Gygax's. I'm guessing, at least Luke is a kid. I don't know Heidi, my daughter or something else. I don't know what his wife's name was, so I don't know which one that is. I don't know how many kids he also had, because I know Luke's the one that we like. Luke's the okay one.
Daughter.
Okay. So it does seem like that Chris, as he's kind of finishing this up, the Castle Wolfmoon, is at least talking with a whole bunch of different people about it, and
his children are Ernie, Elsie, Heidi, Cindy, and Luke.
Okay, so Heidi's one of his daughters. So cool. And that one we don't have as much of a date for. Like you can kind of look into Castle Gygax a little bit more, but Castle Wolfmoon is definitely something that they've announced that they're working on it and putting it out there too. So again, I feel like that's again one that was I feel like you know, Castle Zygad is basically taking like a bunch of manuscripts and stuff that he put together and finishing them up kind of way and adapting them. And Castle Wolfmoon was something that he was working with Chris Clark with, about it. So Chris was like, oh, hey, I still have this old stuff. I can kind of finish it up, and bring our work to light, So they're different, but kind of similar in a way of both they are things that are legacies of Gary. So cool. Different legacies, but interesting. Let's talk about some TCG related stuff and mini stuff, and we can stop by, and I will stop by probably next week, because I wanted to say I'm pretty sure Cyberpunk trading card game going to be the third highest grossing Kickstarter ever at this rate. Is at 19 million with 5 days to go.
Oh my.
And the number 3 is a little over 20 million. So I can see this passing the number 3 mark. It's not going to do the next one up, which is number 2 is like 40 million on Kickstarter. But yeah, it has been impressive. It's at the number 5 slot right now. Insane how well this has done as a Kickstarter. And it's one of those things is like, I'm curious what the hell this means, because like there's a certain point in time where this exceeds what we can do as extra stuff. And either it is, they will invest in probably more, honestly, sets and stuff like that. I'm assuming they're going to a degree, but there's probably also like a huge profit margin on this one. And I'm not going to bust them for this one. They came up with a really cool product and showed it off. If there's a huge profit margin also on top of this, which again, I'm going to guess they're probably going to most companies that get to this point in time, you got a couple choices, and one of the big ones, especially if you want to be successful, is reinvest in some more stuff, so thumbs up if they do that, and we see some more sets in the future. Yep. I'm hoping.
I will probably back for the starter decks.
Yeah. So
probably do that tomorrow.
Cool. But yeah, just wanted to shout that one out there because it was saw it there and it's like, ooh, wow, yeah, that's getting there. So sorry. We're also getting an interesting one that I saw first look up this week, which I didn't even know existed. I don't know if it's been announced before now, but apparently they're doing Vampire Survivors, but Warhammer.
Yeah, it got announced, I think, last year.
It's the first time I've noticed it or saw it, because I guess it just kind of went under the radar for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it says on the tin. It's Vampire Survivors of the Warhammer. It's gonna...
Just the fact that one of the things that they saw being the character was a big old tank, I thought was very funny. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Here's a guy to tank.
I mean, HoloLive has a Vampire Survivors game, so
yes.
Why not Warhammer?
That one, from what I've seen, is surprisingly good. I did not expect that one to I've seen some people play it. I'm like, wow, this is actually surprisingly decent. I'm not one for these type of games, but sometimes having that as a side monitor thing of someone playing one of these and chatting at the same time, I've found enjoyable. The chatting probably more than the gameplay, because again, not necessarily a game for me, but it's kind of interesting to see that. I definitely will find it funny to see some people play that.
They're just, unfortunately, I'm not a Vampire Survivor fan.
Yeah, same with me. So all right,
I just, for whatever reasons, saw for the first time CD Projekt's logo, and it's just an anime hairstyle bird, and I didn't love it.
That's a great way to describe it. CD Projekt Red style bird.
Anime hairstyle bird.
I can see it.
I like that.
Anyway.
It's silly, but I like it.
It is funny when someone who sees something the first time describes it to people who have seen it before.
I can't remember that logo, so as soon as you say it, I'm picturing something that's probably nothing like that, and I enjoy my version of it now in my brain, because I might have seen that before. I'm not remembering it all. Hey, we are getting a demo that's going to be coming out for the 6th edition of Catann. So Settlers of Catann, been out for a while. They're getting a 6th edition of it. It's one of those games that I feel like it is a classic, but nowadays it's very much so love or hate. I feel like I find it fun enough, but again, it could be very frustrating.
I played a lot of it in college.
Yeah. So, but I think we talked about how they're coming out with a new edition of it. Again, updates are very good, and they're actually putting out demos to a number of local game stores across the U.S. that you can try out Catan 6 Edition, see how you like their latest updates and stuff like that. I'm sure it's probably just like some quality of life, little updates here and there, nothing major. It's still going to be Catan, you know, you're not getting away from that, but updates.
I'm just curious about what you can even change at this point.
Probably like tightening certain things with the game. Maybe the only other things I could think about is like some of the expansions, maybe like including them in the base game or certain things from it. Kind of like with Flux, the base game didn't start with creepers, but when you get into later editions, they added back creepers, which was something they invented in later game versions of it, which actually improved the original game version of it too. So it's things like that, like, you know, they came back and improved the original one with stuff they discovered or something. So there might be like little discoveries or things that they found out in other versions of Catan that they're like, hey, we can add this back in the original stuff too. That's the only thing I can think about too for some of those kind of things also. But I don't know. If they're having a demo, it might be enough to do it. Have updates.
Well, according to the AI overview...
Ooh, AI overview. What do you got for us? Beep, bop, boop. Our robot overloads.
It's like more vibrant art, premium square format box, enhanced component storage, including plastic card trays. Core rules remain consistent. Higher quality pieces.
We'll have to see.
Such. So basically, it's just like better storage, higher quality pieces.
If it's just little upgrades, it's just little upgrades. But I guess we'll just kind of see.
So yeah, basically, it's, yeah, I was like, are they gonna? I don't know why they're calling it 6th edition. It sounds like they're changing like something about the rules, but I guess not. Just the 6th version.
6th version of it. Again, like as I said, it might not be. It could be like minor things in the rules too that they update, not major ones. Like until they really release it, we won't know for sure. So there's one that Momo you brought for us, and maybe you can let us know about Brass that they have gone to Pittsburgh.
So Brass is an industrial management board game that came out quite a long time ago. They recently remade it within the last couple of years. It currently sits as I believe, the #1 game on Board Game Geek.
Interesting.
There are a couple of expansions. I'll pull them up for you in a moment. Because I have to find them. Because the original is in Lancashire. They had a Birmingham expansion. Now they're going to Pittsburgh, which is where I live, which is why I brought it up. Because Pittsburgh is quite important to the industrial era.
Yes.
If you pick up a history book, you will know the name Frick or Carnegie.
Rings a bell.
Whether or not your opinions on those two are good or bad doesn't matter. They're long dead.
Yes. They are very much so corpses at this point in time.
But Brass is, like I said, it's a management industry game where you play industry tycoons trying to out-industry each other and control a region of wherever it's set. This one will be the Rust Belt, which is a rather important, not so much these days, but rather important region in world industrialization.
Yeah. A lot of steel production, lot of
steel, coal,
trains,
even oil
like that,
to a degree.
Yeah, a lot of major things that we're dealing with. A lot of industry in the United States kind of went through a lot of that region there too. So Pittsburgh was again, nothing crazy story wise. I think like that. There isn't like. There's probably a few tales here and there, but like the majority.
It's a lot of strike breaking, a lot of strikers being gunned down by Pinkertons.
Yeah.
In that history, it's a very tragic history more than anything.
Yeah, more than anything.
Yeah, it's a shame it's repeating itself right now.
Not only if you have magic cards that you're not supposed to have.
You pick your kids, damn it! Not again. When will they be used again? I don't know. They should. They're still goddamn around. We got reminded of that. Damn you!
They're still around. They're real mad about being used in Red Dead 2.
I was just thinking about strike breaking and stuff. Like, did you know there was some very weird minor attempts to do strike breaking on the SAG-AFTRA strikes a few years ago?
Strike breaking is unfortunately a very common practice in the Western world.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, like there's this whole thing where it was very minor stuff because obviously there are a lot better laws now, but it was like they were protesting outside, and on the day before the hottest day of the year, the people like had the trees trimmed outside of the
the
place they were protesting.
If you're at all interested in American labor history, I implore you to look up the Homestead Strike.
There's definitely some, again, there's a lot very interesting, sometimes dark things that have happened in the history, and it's always good to know them because then you can kind of reflect upon it and know, it's that kind of thing. Know your history because you can be, honestly, better than the worst parts of it, and aspire to be like the better parts of history, you know? That's a good thing to be in. And also we can learn lessons from it, too. Usually, sometimes. Not always, unfortunately.
Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And even if they learn from history, and even if they do learn from history, it sure does like to rhyme.
True. And the last thing is, hey, so it turns out Diamond still has enough problems that the trustee has to go to judge and being like, can I hire lawyers for all the litigations that I'm also now causing? Yes. So yes, all the problems, you know. So the trustee,
Just die.
just it keeps getting stupider. I feel like the ups and downs of the story keep going. Yes, they're like, can I? They basically want a finance approval to hire lawyers, basically take care of the problems they are having, you know, because the problems that they're having, which just keeps going, because Diamond is just such a goddamn mess. It's just this flaming pile of garbage which continues to go. Anyway, that's Diamond for you. So we'll see how everything goes with that. Yeah. So again, one day we'll have that full video that'll tell us everything that happened in this ups and down stories of the fall of Diamond. It's definitely going to be like a 5-hour expose on the entire thing. I just imagine it's going to be something insane like that. You know, it's so much is happening always. So I wanted a topic to this week that I kind of came up with because it was something that I've been kind of dealing with in Wednesday's game as our topic for the week, and that's balancing player voice. And this is something that's kind of something that I wanted to talk about because we've talked about, like, you know, players, some people want to speak up, some people don't want to speak up, and that's the kind of thing that's personal for players. But there are times that players want to speak up and can't sometimes too, and that's trying to allow them the opportunities to do that. And it's not always because of other players too. It could be the goddamn game, and that's the thing I've been facing, and I wanted to talk about that because it's a problem of trying to figure out opportunities and making sure your players have opportunities to speak up, a lot of stuff like that too. And I've faced the problem of Joe made a goddamn character that's just really hard to give an opportunity to do stuff with, you know?
Yeah.
I'm trying, but it's a challenge.
I even gave him a suggestion. To be fair, it was kind of your fault because we're just suddenly there in the thing. I'm like, you could send a drone in beforehand to scout out the place maybe, and then you were like, and you guys are there inside.
I should have given the opportunity for a little bit more.
It's the unfortunate case of we're in the social part of the game, and Joe is not a social character.
Yeah.
It's Joe excels when we're actually doing the heisting parts.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't. He literally only excels in combat. I looked at his sheet. It's literally just 10 freaking dogs with machine guns.
I mean, I would argue if you send 10 dogs with machine guns and people are gonna give up and you win the heist.
It is a strategy of a bunch of robot dogs with machine guns showing up to just win something. Look, I'm not gonna lie.
Robot dogs a combat ender.
Could win some encounters that you're going to have in the possible future. You know,
we're gonna have to capture some dudes. If we just send in 10 robot dogs with AK-47s, I think we win.
Fair.
You know, it is a very difficult thing.
Joe's character is a deterrent.
Yeah, it's like I would like.
But then
for
he's
him...
but I also know Joe, and I don't. He's gonna be like, well, I just win. There's no roll. I don't have to do anything. He's gonna be upset about it.
Oh no.
It's like, I don't want you to roll. It's an annoying roll. You have 10 dogs with machine guns.
There's a lot of dog drones.
10 dogs.
It is a scary amount of dog drones.
Oh.
Yeah, no. I feel like
He's the one.
Variety would have been way better than his hyper focus.
He is the one-y summoner build, but not the annoying summoner build, the semi-annoying summoner build. Because he's not trying to be annoying, he kind of is, you know? He's not the guy with the one Eidolon, which is usually just
Tiny
fine.
guy.
He's the guy that, like,
Little guy.
just, like, it's like, well, I have an Eidolon, but I also summon some things, too, you know, on the side, just for
Little guy
fun.
who lives in his pod.
Mhm.
No, I've definitely had issues with like getting players involved. It comes up in Pathfinder a lot as well.
Mhm.
Because if you're playing fucking like I'm a class that gets +2 in skills, you're not doing much for most of the damn game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Pathfinder's hard. Like certain games like Pathfinder, 2e is a lot better because you actually have there's a lot fewer skills, meaning every character is a little bit more
We've
diversified.
our group for Pathfinder has actually adjusted it so everyone just starts with 2 more additional skills.
Yeah,
That probably helps
and-
a lot.
and that's kind of the thing with Pathfinder, where it's all like, okay, you actually have to hyper focus your skills, otherwise
Yep.
your skills aren't going to be able to beat the DCs.
Yeah. I think even in 2e, that is unfortunately a problem that you have to kind of like, granted, you will have a little bit of things you could still roll, but you still want to have those hyper-focused things for like the very difficult rolls here and there. But
Even
it's
in
less, but still there.
But
but sorry,
the difference is, I was just going to say, like, the difference between 2e and 1e is in 1e, if you want to, like, let's say, have twice as many skills as you otherwise should have, you're now rolling, you can literally reach a point where you cannot beat the DCs, versus 2e, where you actually realistically can, as long as you have proficiency in it.
Yeah, as long as you have proficiency, and even if you don't get a lot of the bonuses, you can still theoretically get most of the higher DC things because you're still adding your level to it, you know?
Yeah, it's just like, it's a difference between +2 versus +8, you know, in terms of, like, the actual, like, difference, because
Which can
plus your
help.
level, so.
Can help in
Yeah,
2e.
no, and it helps a lot.
1e, the way DLCs scale, or the way DC scale is party level +15.
Mhm.
That's how you should scale your DCs in 1e. And doing it that way, you can really just make it so someone isn't rolling anything.
Yeah.
I think that's the advantage of 5e, even though 5e is really bad with like certain things. I bet everybody can roll anything in a lot of ways.
5e's problem is you just don't get enough skill proficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
get at most like 5.
And
Unless you're a
then-
rogue, and then I think you get like 6 or 7.
And then if you don't have a good will save, you just get hit with a debilitating spell, and then you're out of combat. That
Yeah.
can also happen.
And Paizo, Pathfinder, one of these the opposite of that. You get hit with a debilitating spell and you're dead.
See, that's a good thing in chat here. Joe's semi out of game aside, make his character have more presence in his game, and it's the thing of like, I want his character to have presence because he's an interesting character from how he's built it in story-wise, but it's the kind of thing it's like very hard to get there. Well, I'm hoping, because his contact is the guy that the corporate guy. When we have some things there, he's actually got to like do something related to that, and we can have him do something.
It hasn't come up yet, but I do feel like at some point I'll just pull the trigger, because I feel like Naomi and Joe's character would have a lot in common, because we're both smokers and we both drink a lot of wine.
So here's what I don't get about Joe is his character is belligerent and abrupt and like doesn't have social skills. The way I tend to play those characters is I tend to play them as
What is
they
the,
don't understand how terrible people perceive them as. Meaning he really, I feel like those kind of characters should actively try to participate in social encounters and just screw things up, which is fun.
Depend on what the flaw is. I don't know what the specific flaw he took is.
I'd have to.
I forget what it is, but basically it's just all like he has to roll composure not to like insult people.
Oh, I mean that's funny.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it could be real funny, but he's like, "Oh no, I'll screw up the situation. I'm gonna go sit in my car."
The problem is that stops being funny when the system is, oh, you've insulted this guy, bang, you're dead.
Like, I can understand it for, like, the Sultan, but for, like, the other guys we've been meeting with, I could totally see him.
I think it's also the thing of, like, he kind of sidelined himself in a lot of ways. and it makes
like
it
Yeah.
difficult
living in the
because
van.
he wants to be there, but he also wants to live in the van, and it's like
Yeah,
it's
I get it though. When you are playing that kind of character, you do need to be at your drone control station at all times.
mhm.
Uh, uh, yeah, the downside though is he didn't pick up any drones beside like 2 mosquitoes and a bunch of combat drones, meaning you can't use anything to do anything.
I'm trying to find.
So
Here's the thing that I think he could have done. He could have had a lot of like internet search stuff, or sorry, matrix
Yeah,
search
I
stuff.
think.
While you're having conversations, he could have been making checks to look into some basic
Yeah.
information. And with
I
the
think
mosquito
not
drone,
having
like having a direct connection with you through the mosquito drone to like give you information while you're in meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think if I forget what Joe's character's name because I'm really bad with names. I think
Alucard.
if Alucard had more skill to use the Matrix, I think the character 100% good to go.
Mhm.
But you only get so much karma.
Yeah. I think this character is not
all
like
social this
completely
isn't
terrible.
even that bad. Okay, all social tests made by the character to resist acting improperly or impulsively receive a -2 die pool modifier.
You don't make those
Also,
tests
the
very
cost of
often.
improving
They may never
social
learn
skills
any
is
social
double for
skills.
ungood character.
Hmm.
Yeah. Also, like it costs double to learn social skills.
Interesting.
Very very interesting.
And they're treated as unaware. So basically, he's to social what my character is to knowledge.
But it sounds like he's treating it a lot worse than it actually is.
It
He-
sounds
he
like
is.
Tantus, if you remember
Mm.
when you ran Carrion Crown with us,
Mm-hmm.
and with the emotionless trait,
Mm.
it's pinging a little bit of that for me.
Okay.
I'll take because you know how Umber took it so literally,
I get you.
and it kind of made that character very unlikable.
Okay, so it's basically like, hey, I read up on, I can just basically say to him, like, you know, I was talking and I
Yeah,
read up on your flaw, and it's not as bad as you think it is, so you can actually, like, be somewhat social, you know. It's like you're going a little
Okay.
too literal into what it should be, you know.
Well, okay. So here's the problem. He could have done this 10 times better. Basically, he is okay. So it's double. I just realized he's also unaware in social skills. That do not possess a rating of at least 1 or higher. The game master may require the character to make successful tests for social situations that pose no difficulty for non-normal characters.
Mm.
I mean, like, I get it, but yeah, like he can still interact. I think. I don't know. I feel like he's like, oh yeah, no, I'll insult the person. I'm like, then do it. It's funny.
I feel like
it might make things go
Joe's
sideways.
character will have to be present for the conversation next session,
Mhm.
though.
Yeah, because it's gonna be because it's his contact.
Mhm.
I'm hoping we can kind of drag him out of it and have him, like, role play it, not just have it on your sheet as a flaw. If you have to have that flaw, let's role play that flaw, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the kind of thing of like you're kind of ignoring it a little bit. And I think that's something that I haven't done in the game too, is I haven't pushed like and checked what everybody's flaws are to make sure, like, most of them it feels like oh, I'm not good with technology here or there. That kind of applies in a lot of places. We kind of have it come
Yeah,
up, but it's like there's a few that I'm not
and that's the
sure
thing.
we have.
Yeah, mine is basically in stressful situations I have to make a roll to do anything in a reasonable amount of time.
Mhm.
But I can technically if I take my time, I can get things done. So basically, that's kind of that's the technical and the tech unsavvy. I forget what it was called. Thing I had.
Let's look at my flaws. Where are they at? Where are they under? They're under
And the
enhancements.
uneducated one is basically just like my character doesn't know basic things. I mean, I literally had to take a skill so that way I could have basic math. Like I literally.
So, yeah, like, my character, the negatives I took were I have SimSense Vertigo, so I'm really bad at using any VR AR stuff.
Mhm.
I get a -2 to all test that, and if you would have me put it on like a thing on, I would probably play it up as like that queasiness and nausea, headache, things like that. Stuff I get in real life when I use VR. And also something I have been playing up is I have a moderate addiction to tobacco, so I do have to light one up every hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems
I mean-
like. Let's see what.
Nox is the character I think I know the least about.
Nox has uncouth.
I mean,
So
That
like,
also makes sense.
that's the thing. They both have uncouth.
so they're both rash and you know, can be proper.
Yeah.
But also,
But
I have to ask
think
what his,
Nox actually picked up
inconvenience
a social
dependency
skill.
is. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that just is money.
Oh,
It just makes your lifestyle more expensive.
oh, I just see something here. Oh,
It gives you a percentage increase to your lifestyle, I believe.
oh, I think there's someone that Nox sends money to, but I forgot to
Because
add.
I considered doing
This is
that.
me.
I'm like, that's
I
just
think I've
gonna
checked his
be
backstory.
a
I'm just
headache.
forgetting his backstory a little bit here too, so it's probably on there too. So yeah.
Because I considered taking that. I'm like, that's just gonna be a headache for the DM. And I'll just
Mhm.
do something else.
Basically, okay. So, gotcha.
So
that
Nox
makes-
has very passive flaws.
Yeah. Nox basically has someone related to them. Again, I have to check the backstory that they're sending some money to, and also tends to be a little uncouth, which I feel like you've done a good job of playing up that uncouth thing, like there too. You know, I feel like Nox does a good job of it. If Alucard is
Yep.
that way too, I think he can.
Yeah, I guess my secret third flaw, which isn't really a flaw because I actually get bonuses, is if I find a tantalizing secret, I have to roll to resist digging into it.
You have been rolling that.
And I have a phobia thing. I actually wish I did the higher tier phobia because I
Mhm.
realize now it wouldn't have been that bad. But basically, I don't like confined space, and I get a -1. Well, I don't. It's not confined spaces. It's not claustrophobia. It's cleithrophobia, which is basically fear of being trapped. So if basically an exit is blocked, that's when I panic.
I had considered taking a phobia, but the only phobia that would fit my backstory, I don't think would come up
Look.
reasonable enough for me to have it on the sheet.
You almost took a negative, a negative quality with a certain someone, but they technically aren't your enemy. Technically,
Not yet.
not yet. Anyway, we'll see
I
how
mean-
that goes in the city.
I think we need to have just a nice little just sit down chat with Nox, who's incredibly suspicious of all three of us.
Yeah.
Here's the
I'm
thing.
I'm curious.
I can do interesting things with most of your characters except for Nox's because I don't know enough about his character.
He's
Like
just
there's
a
stuff I
guy.
know and don't. He just has to be a guy. Like Alucard at least has now the connection with the corporate guy in town. That'd be kind of interesting there. Ari, your critical glitch has caused me to bring in something very interesting related to your character, which we can have something
I'm actually
to
curious as to what you consider with her, what you're thinking with her, because I kind of viewed her as very much this like she would like to get her hands on me again. She also won't like.
Oh,
She also. You know?
there will be a presentation about that. You know, don't worry. I was planning stuff for her that's related to that entire thing.
But she's also willing to deal. That's kind of the other thing too. So it's like that's why she's a contact as well, because like she's technically willing to deal.
Oh yeah.
But one of her offers will always be, come back and I'll help you. That's kind of the idea of why it's like a contact.
The
She's
bird
not
flew
like,
from the cage and has been outside in the world, but there's dangerous things that can clip your wings. You really should come back to the cage where you're nice and safe.
Yep. Yeah.
That's fine,
Yep.
I'm sure.
Anyway, so it's this kind of thing where it's all like,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna push it, but I'll use everything you give me to my advantage.
Perhaps,
I don't know how.
perhaps she sees an opportunity to maybe influence you to deciding to come back to her. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if my character's particularly interesting. I just made a pretty standard backstory, I feel like.
Yeah, but talking about like getting characters to do stuff in kind of a different sense, I almost want to talk about the D&D game I'm in, where there are 7 players, because that inevitably gets into those things. To be fair, Ald does a really good job of like trying to get other people to help by being like, "Hey, so what are you guys doing in the meantime?" And I'd say about 6 out of every 10 times they're like when that happens, they're like, "We're just watching camp." It's all like, you guys can like scout or do something. Like, "Yeah, we don't want to." It's like, okay, at least
Yeah,
you
it's
get,
also the other thing. Sometimes people just don't want to do something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like-
I can get into an example. Sometimes, like, if you're doing an adventure path, and I'm gonna use Pathfinder again, just because it seems to come in Pathfinder a little bit. Sometimes something the adventure path does makes it so your players 1 or 2 just can't do anything. Like, for example, I'll bring this up a little more later. We fought an enemy that the entire combat was flying in the air. 2 characters couldn't do anything in the combat because it was a flying enemy and the book said to keep it flying.
Yeah. Yep. That is definitely one of those very difficult things in a lot of ways that I've definitely kind of run into here and there.
So it ended up with a lot of turn skipping so the people who could do something could do something.
I'm not gonna lie. It's one of the things that I like. Sometimes, take a step back. Pathfinder 1E. Every time I've had an adventure where they're like, "Hey, so we're going to throw your people against a dragon, and it's outside."
Funny,
and I'm like,
you should say that. It was a dragon.
As soon as it's outside and dragon, I'm like, so the players are just gonna die because it's outside and a dragon. It doesn't need to land.
The combat was against an adult blue dragon.
When they can just fly around, they don't need to land. They will just murder.
Dragon fights are so boring in Pathfinder.
Sorry, this is a random question. Does Shadowrun have a minimum dice pool? Like, is it like 1 is the minimum?
I think it's 1.
Yeah. Basically,
you can't roll less than 1 die.
You can technically. There are situations where you have to spend an edge to roll something. Basically.
Oh, that's true.
Because technically, with his charisma of 2 and his -2 penalty to all social skills, he technically has 0 dice for all social skills.
I'm gonna check if 5e has a minimal dice pool.
I'm talking about Joe, by the way. That's why I was like, I'm like, I'm curious about that.
It's so hard to just Google Shadowrun rules.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, I bounced there. But yeah, like when it really comes down to it,
that is a good thing to think
like,
about, though. You know, for him at least. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and that's kind of the thing where it's all like, I mean, I made my decision about what we were gonna do today. We'll talk about it later. But it's like, yeah, I didn't get it. I literally played Tentem the entire session today because my character was preparing spells while a fight was going on. Because if I participated in the fight, because of the way 2E works, AD&D 2E, if you do anything like remotely exhaustive, which includes combat, you cannot continue memorizing spells. So it's like, well, I'm just going to continue.
It's just unfortunate that there are things with the various builds that you have to do that.
But I made that decision, and I'm fine with it because it was my decision.
If players make decisions, you have to be okay with it. It's a thing of like, you have to worry when players don't understand their decisions, or when you can try to mess around with the world itself. Like, here's the thing is, I think as you suggested, Worm, there has to be times where I kind of give the opportunity for Joe to do things here and there, you know, sometimes too. And it's just, I have to remember to give that opportunity and set up that opportunity so he can do some stuff and allow him to do that kind of thing like that. It's the kind of thing I have to almost take a step back and think about, because it's sort of like, normally there is no, it's like, it's something that maybe doesn't necessarily need to be done, but isn't a bad thing to do. Like the scouting out of, like, you know, as you arrive at certain places, you know, that's not necessarily bad. You really need to do it? Probably not. So, but there might be something good about it.
I did find it. It's referred to as defaulting. In this case, it is when you do not have, say you have a -1 to something. The way you handle it is you take your stats and then you -1 die from that stat.
Okay.
And you just roll that.
Okay.
So if you have 1 strength and -1, I don't know, running, you are rolling 0 dice. You don't run. You cannot succeed.
Okay, and that's the point that I was trying to make. His charisma is technically 2, but the uncouth gives him a penalty of -2 to all social rolls.
So he definitely can't actually roll anything.
So basically, I have to role play through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all social rolls then, or is it just?
So it's just any. I don't remember how uncouth works, but defaulting is any any skill.
Uncouth.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a point in any social skill. And let me look at this quality
Okay,
again.
it's all social tests made to for character resist acting improperly or impulsively. Receive a
right,
minus
you're
2
right.
penalty.
Okay, so he
So
would
it is very
still have one
situational.
die.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
most
yeah,
of the
you're right,
time
you're right. It's a
he just rolls one die.
effectively, if he has to act like if we were in front of the king and
Mhm.
he wanted us to roll etiquette, that's when you'd get the -2 and basically have 0 dice.
Yeah.
But he still has 2 charisma, meaning he does at least get 1 dice for not having any trained social skills.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yes. So I think it's something of like, hey, it's not all social skills. Most of the ones you can roll with 1 die, and you can still roll it. It's just that, like, if it's you trying not to say the wrong things, like etiquette-based stuff, or, other kind of things where you might have to make checks, it's there. But, like, just talking with people probably wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
And play it up. Insult the people. I think that'd be funny. I think that might get them, irked, and we'll have to deal with it. It's a complication. It's fun.
Yeah.
That's part of the game.
Yeah. You chose to be uncouth. Now play with it. You can't hide in a pod and choose this. It's like, it's the kind of thing of like, it's like, it feels like it's choosing something when you're like trying to avoid it completely. He does really want to be in that pod though and shoot things with dogs.
I mean, who doesn't? Sounds cool.
I know. But again, like it's a challenge, but I do want to give him some stuff there too. It just feels like it's like a challenge somewhere too sometimes with the entire thing. He has presented his character in such a way that it is a challenge, unfortunately. And I think that's the thing about like saying like sometimes is characters will be Joe's character unique in a lot of ways. But there are plenty of characters that will present problems that make it a challenge to do things sometimes too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just he's trying to. He picked a flaw and doesn't want to get into a situation where that flaw might come up because he was min-maxing when he made his character.
I think it'd be really funny if you put a set of VR goggles on my character.
That would be hilarious.
Honestly speaking, you might need it sometimes. There's a lot of stuff in AR that's probably around that you're probably missing out on, but I think most of the time it's been fine here in Lagos because it's probably not as bad it is in like Seattle and stuff too, because you kind of have to worry about like in Seattle there might be like places if you're going to like a cafe or something that you might need like AR to like see the menu or something like that too. It's like, god damn it.
Yeah, like because logic skills, most of them for like perceiving AR I would be fine at doing. I just have a -2 to look at things. And anything deeper than like perceiving an AR, I'm not really gonna roll because we have other people who are just better at that.
Yeah.
And some guy who's always in AR in his pod.
It's a thing that Joe has presented me a challenge, and I want to overcome that challenge. It's just a challenge that's kind of like, because it's hard, I wanted to talk about that challenge today and be like, hey, this is something that other people might face, and I'm still figuring it out.
I forgot I wasted points on lockpicking. Why did I do that?
Yeah, I think you just have to really much like be conscious and be like, Joe, what are you doing? What are your plans for this situation? Like that can help, because I mean, if he's like, I don't know, then that's still his, Yeah,
that's up to him. If
he made his character, he should try and think through what his character might do in these situations.
And I was gonna say, lockpicking, it isn't. It's a character skill. If it's something that you're like, why did I take this? Can I use this? It's just become a character skill.
I don't remember why I took lockpicking.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you had to learn it in law enforcement or something like that.
Maybe.
Part of some kind of like search and rescue kind of thing. And you just happen to be very skilled in it. I don't know.
I have that elven dexterity.
Mm-hmm. Honestly speaking, does Joe have lockpicking? You might be the one to do that. I don't know if he actually has lockpicking.
I think someone else has lockpicking.
Joe has lockpicking.
I might have better lockpicking.
Joe's locksmith.
Oh, Joe has locksmith.
Joe's a 6 dice pool to lock.
I have one more than him. I have 7. Yeah. I am the master of unlocking. I did build a Resident Evil character. That is my secret. I'm playing Jill Valentine. No. Mm-hmm. I don't remember Jill Valentine being a 6-foot tall elf.
Curious. Do you get -1 to social skills?
Yeah, I'm trying to look at people's skills and figure out what they can do and stuff like that too. That's another thing I kind of like look through and.
The big thing for me, I can do most things. I think. Can I do them well? No.
Yeah, like
I have a lot of skill points to work with.
Joe honestly might be better in person for finding stuff. His perception dice pool is 8. I'm pretty sure your dice pool is limited by whatever the hell the machine has in that.
I think so, yeah.
And I don't know if his robots have more than 8 dice.
They might.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know if his robots do.
Yeah, so he might just be limiting himself by like seeing stuff with perception through that. I have to remember how that works though.
If we need any animals handled, I can roll 7 dice for that though.
So I know it's sensor plus pilot, I think, is what you roll. Or no, the limit is the sensor, I think.
I believe that's how that works.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and so his sensor on his scouting drones, his mosquitoes, is 3.
Okay.
Meaning he can get a max of 3 successes.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely better in person, even though it's pilot plus something to actually like scout through it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I love Nox's characters. Nox's character has already went over. He has knowledge in Fight Clubs.
Hell yeah.
I'm just looking at that.
If
And
we
I'm
were
like,
if we were in Seattle, this would be a very different vibe for a group. I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like this definitely tested things differently. Also, Nox has some social skills. So nice.
Yeah, I find it funny. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he knows that he's gonna have issues, so like that's the thing. Because I have the uneducated thing where I can't default on anything that requires like a tech skill.
Yeah.
I actively put a bunch of points into tech skills so that way I don't have to like, even if I get a penalty, it's not like a massive penalty, you know?
Like, I'm sorry, Nox took a pretty decent charisma, which I can understand for probably like his intimidation and his negotiation skills, where he's probably like, a little uncouth there. But that's not really, when you're intimidating and negotiating, you're probably not going to have the uncouth.
You probably want to be uncouth.
Yeah, more than that. So it's like, yes, he has enough charisma that if he rolls like etiquette, which that would come up on, he'd still have a dice. He'd still have 1 dice. That's just. He with the -2 penalty and defaulting 1 dice. He has a 4. So it's an interesting plan out, and I like the way that it plans out that character. He works very well with his big flaw there too. He can still work with it and still exist on it. And I think that's, again, like, I think it's the thing of like getting into the system has also caused these problems too. So getting into a new system and not like being able to talk with him about it and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that I could have like helped with Joe earlier on before the character started that could have helped establish things to mitigate these problems ahead of time. And I think that's also the thing too, is like trying to like catch things before it gets to be a problem. And this is kind of like, it's a kind of problem that I didn't catch earlier. So,
Look, one day
honestly,
I'll get to roll leadership.
I should just said no to the van to begin with. I just was like, I thought when I presented it with him, it would have been an ass to get the van there. He would have just said no, but no, he's like, nah, I want the van.
Again, still. I actually don't think the van thing is the problem. I think the problem is he literally put all his money into combat drone. He didn't get a variety, which is what like is good about Wigger. Is you can have a scout drone, you can have a spy drone, you can have a combat drone, you can have a mosquito drone, you can have a sensor drone. He literally put all of his points into combat.
He wanted to murder stuff, and that's all he wants to do.
Yeah, that's I feel like the bigger issue is that like his drones can't do shit, and he can't do shit.
I don't know. It's a thing that like he's presented a lot of problems that I would hope that we can overcome, but he's given us a challenge. A challenge. Yeah. And I'm not gonna say anything. It's just like if you poke at me, a little bit more. I think I missed when you were saying something about that with the drone, for me going inside. So just like maybe continue to just be like, hey, just try to give him something, if you notice something that I'm missing or like, he's missing, helps out a lot. I'm gonna try to, the rest of you seem so easy there too.
Look, just wait until I roll a rally check and roll 11 dice for it.
I'm not gonna lie, like Nox going and communicating with the kid gang members is my favorite thing that's happened, because his uncouthness and like the way he acts probably works perfectly fine for this bunch of like, you know, hooligans.
Yep. And
I'm gonna use the word
that's what I like
hooligans.
about it. It's like, and I like how he's like speaking out of turn, where I'm like, hey, God, we can't do it this way. We're gonna have to try and do it this, and I'm like coaching him. It's like, and that's cool. That's fun because like I know I'm gonna have to, because I know otherwise he'll just spill the beans.
Mm-hmm. I think Joe is the one that we need a little work with. That's
I think my favorite bit in this adventure has been the airport, where we were gonna try to negotiate, and he was just like, "Well, there's more of them, so we shouldn't negotiate."
Yeah, yeah. I was just like literally in front of them. He was. It's like, oh yeah, okay. I'm like, hey, what's? It's like, okay, let's talk. And he's all like, I don't know. I think it's a bad idea.
There's
It's
more of
like
them.
totally just undercutting the entire time. I thought that was hilarious. I know you're all like, oh, you can discuss this off on the side. I'm like, no, there was no. Like I am actually very generous with that as a GM, but I was just like, no, that doesn't make sense. We literally just found out about it.
I'm
There's
not
no
gonna lie,
where we can go.
It did feel perfectly knowing that Nox is uncouth, having that right there. You know, the conversation right there in front of him made so much sense. It was just like, it was wonderful. Now,
Yeah.
in hindsight, of course, you know. There have been some very good moments in the game so far, you know. Again,
Yep.
the Joe challenge,
It's a
working
very
on it.
comical time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for Joe, we just need. I think part of the thing is you need to remind him that just because he's bad at it doesn't mean he can't participate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with going into the corporate thing, that'll be a perfect time to be like, hey, Joe, you know, remember, uncouth doesn't give you no dice at all times. You can still roll certain social situations, just certain times that you kind of get there. You can still roll this, and since this is you rolling it, just you have to be ready to kind of play this out as to how you think your character would act.
Yeah,
you know,
he still gets
rolls.
one dice. He can still use edge, etc.
Yeah. So I think we'll have to. He's technically the one that's got the contact here, you know. So he's got to figure out how he's going to do it here.
And at the very least, you know, like we can supplement him. He can be like, you know, you can have like if his character like rolls a glitch and he curses the guy out, we can step in and be like, okay, hold on.
Yeah. You're there to help out, you know.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting.
So it just adds complication. Like I think complications in these kind of games are fun.
Yeah. But so yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to kind of discuss this entire thing, because it's as much as it's relating to, you know, the frosty job here, it is one of these things about like that it does happen in other games, certainly speaking. So I kind of want to use it as a discussion point for the entire thing.
Yep.
Making the Pokemon more
it's
sociable.
good to-
You gotta clean them up.
Think about.
Him and Nox, just you have to get them like under like get some showers in a can, just spray them down, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Nox is too busy like getting a workout, and like I feel like
we can't do it to Nox because the filth is load bearing.
I feel like Nox isn't filthy on purpose. He just like works out all the time because he's like a fighter and like gets in scraps and just doesn't take a shower afterwards. He just gets into the next one, you know. So it's building a layer of like, you know, getting into fist fights and stuff like that, more than anything. But anyway, I think that's a good time to transition to talking about our week, and we'll be talking about that game in a little bit more in a second here. But we got Joe's game this weekend, tomorrow, so we can turn it over to Momo, because you have usually Mondays and Tuesdays.
All right, Monday we missed because one person is dog sitting, one person is moving, and one person was sick. So we had 2 people, so we could not play.
Yep, that'll do it.
So instead, I played Helldivers that day.
You know, acceptable.
So then Tuesday we had a fight against a big spooky dragon.
Yeah.
Who just flew in the air and had pipe bombs thrown at him.
That is one way to solve a flying dragon problem. Magic.
The dragon was pretty much immediately disabled in all forms of combat because our sorcerer opened the combat with a Siphon Might spell, and then did it a second time.
Oh god! Yeah.
So the dragon lost 7 points of strength immediately. And then it just didn't have a good time. I don't know why it didn't leave.
It's so funny because I
but it
literally dealt
died.
with a dragon in a similar game a few weeks ago, where I basically just shrunk the dragon.
Dragon fights, unless they're in a lair, are so underwhelming in Pathfinder. Also, Lightning and I were just stuck on the ground, not able to do anything.
So it's like, so if it gets down here, we'll do something. Just sitting there like, yep, just gotta wait.
It just like kind of sucks. I don't know. The way the book told Cell to run the dragon was like the worst way to do a dragon fight. Because it was literally like, well, the dragon's just gonna fly and hide behind buildings. It's like that's not fun for anyone. Yeah. I understand it's a CR-14 dragon, but you could make it land and fight people.
Yeah.
It's still a 1v4. It's an even fight. Also, the dragon had like 36 AC, which I know is not normal for an adult blue dragon.
Yes,
it had mage armor, and then it had some template attached to it.
Could have had shield too if it had time to prep ahead of time.
So yeah, it had like, I think it also had like plus 28 to hit. So it was just a weird fight.
Yeah. Because how much did it have?
It had, I think, 36 AC.
That would have been actually, that could have been mage armor and shield. That would have been 36. Normally it's 28.
I think it was mage armor and a template.
Okay, that could have definitely been.
It had some infernal template on it because it could summon devils.
That would have done it too.
But I also want to point out 36 AC is also well within my range to hit, as I have a plus 26 to hit.
That is still within, like, you know, again, as I look at Adult Blue Dragon from 1E, where it has 7 times per day mage armor and shield. I mean, it's going to be casting those probably.
The bigger problem is it had spell resistance of like a lot, and then like he's playing a druid. Druids don't usually take spell penetration because you usually don't need it.
You know, and that's where the alchemist comes in, because it has a touch AC of 8 normally.
Yeah.
So let's say
I think it had 1 more touch AC.
Yeah. So bonuses from stuff could be a little bit more, but most of the time that's just
okay. You're just
throw a bomb at it.
Because the conversation will range. The conversation will range bands. It's well out of the range of throwing a bomb without penalties. It's like, well, you're hitting touch AC. Touch AC is going to be in the single digits. Just don't roll a 1.
If you have enough bonuses, you don't have to care about the range penalties.
It was just a weird fight. And then we went and killed some inquisitors that were rewriting country history because they're dicks or something. I don't remember why they were doing that. I genuinely question what the fuck comes after this book, because there's 2 more books and we've won. We just have to go kill a Thrune, which we've already killed 2 Thrunes in this adventure.
Yeah.
So I don't know what is supposed to come next. I've seen, when I looked into running this, I've seen people be like, yeah, you can just like end it at book 4. Books 5 and 6 aren't really that necessary. I don't know. It's been an interesting game, and I'm kind of... I'd kind of be cool if it ended at book 4.
Well, I guess you'll have to see how it goes.
There's 6 more levels of this game somehow. It goes to level 17.
Oh, sorry. Maximize something on top of everybody. Wednesday. Yeah. So to summarize, as we kind of talked about a little bit there, the big things were that you got back to Lagos and began investigations, which went some pretty good ways. You basically talked with the good places. I gotta be honest, like, you're looking into the Talisman Market was a pretty good idea. I like that one. Talking to those kids, good idea. And of course, talking to Catann, pretty good idea. I mean, those were 3 sources that were pretty good to get some information. And ended up with some good bits, and eventually tracked down a man who goes by the name of Hippo, who is, I gotta be honest, the more I look at his stats and what's about him, he really is just like Shadowrun Kingpin, because he's just a very large man who's also really threatening, because he's not like, he's like giant, kind of morbidly obese man who probably could hit you like a hippo would, you know? He is dangerous like one. He's a fascinating kind of like, he's just a fixer though too. So he's doesn't have like huge combat skills, but like enough that like I'm like, he's kind of interesting as a side character, and like I could see using him in other places too. He's kind of fun as an idea. You know, so sometimes here's the thing. I think funny works for Shadowrun. Shadowrun is a system that is just, it's very serious, but it's also just a little silly.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of suit he was wearing. I should really had him in a white suit. That would have won him over as the
you'll get it's the one Chris Redfield unlockable zebra suit from RE5.
Oh yeah, the zebra suit would go so well. The zebra print suit. That is yes. He's just a big man in a big zebra print suit. Oh, crush you. I like that. So yes, then you basically went and did a little job for him and are ending up going and talking to a corporate man, which will be next week. So that'll be fun. It was good because you had good ideas, enacted them very well, and followed the information trail very efficiently. Like, I was worried no one would have any good ideas, and it would be like at least an extra entire session before you got anywhere, you know? It's like, I wasn't... Look, from other games, I'm not trusting. Not to blame all you guys.
Like
I've had plenty of games where
5% chance of that happening.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, just it's not going to go anywhere.
Yep.
I didn't do anything else on Thursday or Friday that tabletop related. So unless anybody else did, we can turn towards. I guess is there anything else on your game, or is it just stuff going on? You checking spells this week. Was there anything else that happened for today?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned mine. I played 10-10 the whole time because everyone was fighting. I barely paid attention. Then we caught a guy, and then we looked at loot, and yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that kind of goes where everything is today, this week, you know? So I guess we'll end it there. That seems like a great place. We kind of went into some interesting things and had some good discussions, and I hope all of you out there enjoyed joining us. We usually are here every Saturday. I'm at least here, and usually at least one or both of my esteemed guest hosts are here to join me for the adventure. I guess I can shout it over to them if they've got anything to shout about what they're doing coming up and where to find them and stuff like that. Momo, do you have anything?
I do not have anything.
Then it goes over to Worm, which I have to spell correctly.
Yeah, I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter, Blue Sky, and YouTube. Next stream should be tomorrow. I'll either do more Cobalt Core or Tactical Breach Wizards, I think.
Ah, cool. Hello, myself. If you were viewing this, you were probably either joining me on my Twitch channel or over on my YouTube channel. Hey, if you're over on one of those, please give the various supports to help those things, especially on YouTube for a little bit of subscription. But that's where all the old episodes of Discussing Tabletop end up. If you want to check out any of those, I do recommend them for basically some other products you might want to check out and other various topics you might want to dive into. I will, of course, be back next week at 6 and 7 time. Make sure to check out, of course, our current Artifact Runners 5e game, Frosty Job, on 8 p.m. on Wednesday. I got links below for other stuff. All my other tabletop stuff's also on YouTube, so you can check out some of that too. You know, if you're checking out something, check out some more stuff over there. I got plenty of cool things I talk about, various topics here that can give you plenty of ideas about tabletop-related stuff. Yeah, and I think I said everything. Sometimes I forget what I'm shouting out. But anyway, everybody, have a good rest of your day. I'll probably be back on Tuesday, so you can check me out then. But until then, I say farewell to you all and goodbye.